There's a lot of doubters out there, and we were talking about the doubters that are out there. And I know you like to turn a negative into a positive.
I love it. I love the fact that pretty much everybody has written us off, and I think again that's fuel for the fire. And I'm gonna obviously use that to the best of my ability to talk to our players about how people are viewing us as a basketball team. So, we're going to go out here tomorrow and we're going to get a lot of work in and we're going to get ready for the season. And we got to do it collectively. There's no doubt about that. But I love the fact that everybody's doubting us.
So there is a chip on your shoulder.
I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I think we got a bunch of players in this locker room that had that same chip. So again, that's a motivational factor that we can use to come out here and play hard every single night, which we have to do and we're going to do. And I think we're going to surprise some people.
So there will be a little anger out there.
I hope so. I really do. I hope so. I hope a lot of our guys feel slighted, about all this. So, we'll see what happens.
Byron, what do you expect out of Kobe?
I'm expecting him to play 82 games and play well. To be honest with you, you know what? He's a guy that's going to still probably average 23, 24 points a game. Our biggest thing is making sure that he stays healthy and keeping his minutes to a minimum where he can play, those 82 games.
Some folks see this as a farewell tour for him. You don't see it like a farewell.
No, I don't. You know what? I've had a chance to sit down and talk to Kobe. I had a chance to see him work out. I had a chance to see him play 5-on-5. He's far from retiring.
How does it, practice-wise, what do you do for him? Is it regular or do you limited or?
Well, the first day, which is tomorrow, we're just going one day, one practice. So he'll go probably full board. The next day is 2 practices, and they probably just practice once. And the same with Steve Nash as well. Both of those guys have obviously earned the right to just go one time, and there might be a day or two where they don't go at all. Again, it's just depending on how they feel, and really is a lot of that is up to them and Gary Vitti, our trainer.
That's pretty much how you look at it all season, just monitor them just based on how they feel.
You got to. You got to. Again, like I said, I want them fresh in April. We got to decide on what we're going to do on back-to-back nights as well.
Byron, what have you learned about this team since the day you were named the coach that maybe you didn't know between now and then?
I still don't have a lot of answers, to be honest with you. There's still a lot of things I have to find out about the guys that we have on this team, and that obviously starts tomorrow. So, I'm just as anxious to find out, where we are as a basketball team, and I'm sure those guys are just as anxious to get started.
Byron, do you have a number in mind? Do you have a number in mind of minutes for Kobe and Nash?
Yeah.
Would you like to share that?
No.
Do you think it's possible or even likely that they'll sit out a back-to-back?
Well, again, that's something that we have to talk about. That's something that Gary and I would talk about as far as it either being limited that night, that second night, or not playing at all.
The time that you watched Kobe play 5-on-5, did it surprise you? Did he do better than you expected? Is it what you expected?
He did better than I expected. I know he hadn't played ball in a long time, and when he even got out there, he said, Coach, this is the first time I played, and he said it really feels like a year. And the way he played that day, I was shocked. And obviously I felt very good, after he left that day playing 3 games. I felt very good at where he is at this particular point and felt very good about going into tomorrow.
What particular things did you see to your expectations of how he played?
Just the way he moved, the way he shot the ball, the way he posted up, mid-post, the way he rebounded, the way he passed it. I mean, he just played like he had been playing all summer long.
Can you count on getting, say, 65 or 70 games out of Steve Nash, or is that unrealistic?
You know what? I don't know. To be honest with you, we still have a lot of answers. I mean, a lot of questions that need to be answered. And obviously, like I said, it starts tomorrow. But with Steve and with Kobe, when practice is over, I'm real concerned about the next day. That's going to be a telltale sign for me, and I think for them as well. So, if they're feeling good those next few days after practice, then I think that's a great sign. But I'm not going to put any type of numbers as far as how many games or how many minutes Steve will play.
Byron, how are you a different coach now than when you first started? What have you learned that's changed in any which way?
Well, you know what, I think anytime you do a job for a certain amount of time, you gain that extra experience that you need. So obviously I've learned a lot, from my first, coaching job in New Jersey to this particular point. And to me, this is a perfect situation and a perfect time for me to be back here in Los Angeles, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
Less of a disciplinarian than you were before? Or?
I'm still a disciplinarian, but probably a little bit less. There's a lot of little things, that I've changed. Probably not as hard as I used to be. I've softened up a little bit, but not that much, believe me.
Talking to Kobe and watching Kobe, have you seen this injury change him in any way?
Not really. What I've seen him do the last 4 or 5 months is that he's probably more focused now than I've seen him in a long time. and I think he knows his body a little bit better now than he's probably ever known it. You know, so I think you guys are going to be surprised, you know, how well he plays this year.
But that speaks volumes. I mean, all of us would agree before the injury, he was pretty focused, he was pretty intense man.
Right.
And
So again, I think he's even more focused now than he has been in the past.
Are you trusting, though, that he's going to know what his body is about and not try and get too much out of it?
Yes and no. You know, as players, you can really. I found out from now being a coach, you can't really trust us as players. You know, we'll tell you we're not hurting and we really are. You know, so I got to take it with a grain of salt and also go by what I see. You know, so you know, I know Kobe. He's probably mentally and physically the toughest guy in this league. You know, and I know that. So I know he'll play through a lot of pain as he's done in the past and still be able to perform, but it hurts him in the long run. And again, my job is, you know, when this is all said and done, I want him to be able to still play with his girls and have a lot of fun and enjoy it. So, and I said this in the papers before, I'm not going to sacrifice him to win a basketball game. You know, I want to make sure he stays healthy.
Byron, what are you hoping Carlos can do for Julius?
Help him, teach him. You know, get him some of that experience that Carlos has, that he's had in this league. You know, he's been in the league a long time and been pretty successful. So you're looking at two guys that are about the same size, you know, as far as height-wise and everything, and probably the same ability. Carlos shoots the ball a little bit better than Julius right now, but you know, Julius probably handles the ball better too. So I mean, they got a lot of little things I think they can help each other with. But Carlos is obviously one of those guys. I think he's a very positive guy, and he can be a mentor to him.
I asked Mitch how much time they might spend on the court together, and he said that's a Byron question. So, how much?
Well, I'm glad Mitch said that. I don't know. I don't know. You know, it just kind of all depends. What I like about both of those guys is they're versatile. You know, there can be times where Carlos is playing the 5 and Julius is playing the 4. So it's just going to all depend. You know, and obviously I'll find out a lot of those answers during the preseason and training camp.
I know you can't guarantee victories and losses, but what's the one thing you can guarantee about this club this year?
One thing I can guarantee is the team will compete every night. Compete every night. You know, we'll play hard every single night, and especially on that defensive end, because we all know that have been in this organization before that's what wins championships, and that's where we got to start. You know, starting tomorrow morning.
How strange is it to come in though as a big underdog with that Lakers on your jersey?
It's very strange, but you saw the little smile on my face. I mean, I kind of like that. It's cool.
Challenge?
It's a big-time challenge. You know, especially for all the guys that have been in this organization, which is really just one, which is Kobe. You know, he's probably never been in that situation either. So this is a big-time challenge for all of us.
Did you see any explosiveness out of Kobe?
I saw enough. You know, I mean, he was able to, you know, raise up on his jumper. He was able to get that off on everybody to guard him. And again, that was to me very exciting. And like I said, I watched his movement. You know, he didn't favor his ankle, he didn't favor his knee, he didn't favor his Achilles or anything. You know, the way he moved, you know, he looked like the Black Mamba.
Did he attempt to throw down any dunks in that 5-on-5?
No, and I'm glad he didn't.
Sorry, you're talking about the defense. So Germany said he works a lot for that matter. So what did you anticipate from Germany?
Well, like I said before, when we got Jeremy, that's a kid that I really like. You know, Jeremy's a competitor. You know, he can obviously shoot the ball. You know, if you look at stats, he's one of the top point guards in this league as far as getting to the basket, so he's not afraid of contact. But on the defensive end, he's very gritty, you know, and he takes a challenge, you know, so that's going to sit real well with me, you know, as far as his playing time. But I think he's going to have a great year.
There are a couple of things at the top of your list right now that you need to get, like, taken care of immediately that you can share with us.
Defense, transition defense. Those are the first two things we're going to talk about tonight, and we're going to do a whole lot of stuff on that tomorrow morning.
That's where the old disciplinarian comes in too, right?
Well, but we need it. Those are two things and two areas that we have to improve in, and those are two things and two areas that I put a lot of emphasis in.
How much do you think it helps you coming off of 2 difficult seasons here that the city knows you, they know you have a history here, there's a familiarity? How much do you think that helps you? Maybe you get a little time to make whatever changes and adjustments you're trying to.
It helps me a little bit, but you know what? The Los Angeles fans here understand what this organization is all about, and it's about championships. You know, so I know we're in the honeymoon stage right now, and I know that might last a year. And you know, after that, it's about back to hey, our expectations of winning championships. But you know, again, that's what I expect as well. You know, so you know, it's kind of going to go hand in hand.
But not as much, you know.
I don't expect much. I don't expect much. I put that type of pressure on myself to get these guys ready to play.
How much can you actually appreciate where you are right now as opposed to a few months ago when you were hoping to be here? Can you do that on a daily basis? Wake up every morning and say, this is what it's about, baby.
You know what? I guess sooner or later I'm gonna have to say, okay, that I can quit pinching myself and saying that I'm here. I am here. I've been doing that ever since I've been going into the office almost every day. It's like, man, this is a dream come true. I think once we start tomorrow and I blow that whistle and we come in that huddle and we get ready to run and get going, I think it'll wear off right then because I know then it's real and we'll just get going from there.